I don't know how many of you at times feel that you're not good enough. When the nomination came in the mail in October, I was feeling like that. I had a shocking month. I had made some bad mistakes in my business that were putting a lot of pressure on me and my staff, and I just felt like I was going backwards. I had a phone call with Rick going, you know what, I'm just feeling frustrated and I'm tired and I'm making mistakes and I'm not moving forward, and who am I to stand up here and tell you guys any different? But the fact is, over the last 5 months, if I hadn't done the things that I've done in my business, I wouldn't actually have a business right now. I was losing anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 a month on a consistent basis. So, I've been in my current business for 2 years. Before that, I was a sole trader. I set up last year and I hit the ground running. And I went out and I generated all these leads, and I was only doing 2 days a week in my business. And I hit the wall in June because there was no systems behind what I was doing. And I actually heard a saying. Someone said to me, your business is a reflection of you. And I'm like, my business is a reflection of me. I don't know if you actually heard that. And it took me 12 months to actually understand what that really meant. And I got it. My business is a reflection of me. It's not the GFC, it's not the weather, it's not the global financial, I said that, didn't I? It's not a downturn in the economy. It's what I'm doing and what I'm not doing in my business. So in June last year, I hit that wall and I fell back into fear. And I did what I do best, which is personal training. And towards the end of last year, I was smashing out 60, 30-minute sessions a day and just hanging out in that space in fear. At the end of the year, I regrouped with myself and said, well, what is it that I need to do differently? And what have I been doing? And I recognised that's what I had been doing. And then I'm like, well, how am I going to change this? And so I decided that 2012 would be the year that I walk in courage, and I would do whatever it was going to take for me to get my business in the black. Feel the fear and do it anyway, is where I was at. So, this year I removed myself from the business again in March. I put a trainer on who managed to take on my whole 60 sessions. And I was doing those things, like you've all heard them, joint ventures, public speaking, traditional advertising, publicity. I mean, I had worked with business coaches, I had been to seminars. These people were talking this stuff all the time. But there was no systems behind what I was doing. And then I picked up the backstage pass. So I came to FFP through C.H.E.K, through MPE in the States, and then to FFP. And I started working my way through that system. I implemented one thing that was really powerful, and that was the autocloser phone script. Now, I had been in sales for a long time, and I was using a script, but nothing as powerful as this. And in May, I managed to close 8 clients. And I'm like, wow, that's really amazing. It must be because I pre-qualified them harder. And then I couldn't wait to sink myself into the marketing section because I knew that's where I was weak in my business, or I didn't have any systems behind it. And I got there and there wasn't enough meat. And so I picked up the phone and I started my FFP journey in June of this year. So when I rang, I was really clear on what I wanted to do. I knew that I would do anything, absolutely anything, to get my business where I needed it to be. And let me give you 2 examples of that. If Rick told me to go outside in a pink bikini, holding a sign, standing on my head, you know what? I'd do it. No questions asked. Another example is I just started boot camps 2 weeks ago. And I didn't like boot camps. I didn't want to train boot camps. And the reason is because I've been doing things in my business that I like doing. Does that make sense to you guys? So, I was doing yoga and one-on-one because that's what I enjoyed. But I realised that I actually had to get out of my ego and do whatever it takes to get my business to where it wants to be. And, Rick mentioned to me boot camps. And how that conversation came about, and Steve, I was thinking about this today, is that I was looking at my business and the profit I was making and comparing myself with the other guys on the leaderboard, going, how come they're making all that profit and I'm not? And I identified that it must be coming from groups. I had a conversation with Rick on the phone. I said, how are these people doing it? Is it groups? He's like, yeah, Tanya, you're right. And I'm thinking, well, I've got groups going. I've got small groups going. And a week later, Rick's gone, Tanya, you're going to start a boot camp. I'm going to start a boot camp? Yep, Tanya, you're going to start a boot camp. Okay. So I went away next week. Tanya, have you started the boot camp? No, Rick, I'm going to do it next year. He's like, no, you're going to do it now. I'm like, what? Now? It's like 6 weeks to the end of the year. And he's like, yep, Tanya, you're going to start a boot camp. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go and start a boot camp. In 7 days, I got 10 campers to my very first camp, and I converted 7 of those. I'm like, wow, if I can do that in 7 days, imagine what I can do in 3 weeks. And I've been really loving that. So there's some other things that I also have learnt about myself when I started with FFP. I knew that the financial management in my system was weak. I knew what marketing to do, but I didn't know how to do it well. I didn't have a system behind it. I knew that I needed more support in my business in terms of admin. I had a person working for me, but she wasn't doing enough hours. I knew that I needed to be a leader in my business and not be scared of my staff. So there was some stuff I already knew before I started FFP that I needed to fix. So since June, I have done the following things in my business. I have implemented AutoCloser, I have done Duplicator, I've worked with Commander and DeepCore, I've run the following marketing campaigns: Bring a Friend, I've done the newsletter, I did the Beauty Body Challenge, and that's me in the local paper, which was free. I did the icing on the cake, and I've ran that 3 times now. Oh, that's me. Sometimes I get to have some fun. That's me skiing, and I also learnt snowboarding this year too, amongst all of this. I've implemented rapid fat loss, I've done the mega training bonus, I've done 3 public speaking gigs, I've done some press releases, and that's a local website that I have been writing for. I implemented Rainmaker, I put together a YouTube channel and now doing videos, I updated my website, sometimes I get to have fun and ride my motorcycle. I've also implemented the following things: products into my business, small group trainings, boot camps for women. I've also implemented weekly staff meetings and reviews. My team has gone from 4 staff to 7 staff. And I say it like that because that's how quick it's been going on. One thing after the other, after the other, after the other. It's been full on. It's been full on. So when you get your business, or the way that I've got my business and shaken it up like that, it has been with some pain and it has been with some reward. So some of the things I've learned along the way is to get good admin staff. I had an admin person that had been with me for quite some time. I hired someone else. 8 weeks later, that person left because their husband got posted, and I didn't find that out in the interview process. It cost me $5,000 to train her, and she left me 3 weeks before I was meant to go overseas to do some more studies, and I couldn't go. I then put somebody else on in the business who was helping me out temporarily. She's there for 6 months, and I realised that she's actually only doing 50% of what I really need her to do, and I now am looking to refill that role in terms of admin. So in reflection, you can actually hire people that are too qualified in that. I've had turnovers in trainers. In the last 5 months, I've had a handful of trainers, 2 or 3, come and go in a very short period of time. What I've learned is that it's dangerous for me to have one trainer train one client the whole time, if that makes sense. So if I can get my trainers to train with all the staff, all the clients there, it's much better. Because when my trainer left of 18 months, a couple of clients left with him. I put another trainer on. He left 8 weeks later. The other lesson I learned was don't hire a trainer who works at another gym. They have to work for me only. What else have I done? In August, I hit cash flow nightmare. So in one day, on a Monday, my bank balance went from $8,000 down to $500 in one day. And I'm like, I had no idea what was going on. And again, through today, I was looking at my business in the past in terms of profit and loss. I wasn't actually looking at my business in the future. And I've now implemented the cash dashboard, and I can actually track my monies coming in versus my expenses. And I haven't had that problem since, thank goodness, because that was a really scary day for me. In October, like I said to you guys, I was having a shocking month. I had made some business decisions that were putting me under a lot of pressure, and my team under a lot of pressure too. I ran icing on the cake into a suburb, which I thought was quite a well-to-do suburb, but these people just wanted their free sessions from me. I did 8 consults and I only closed 1. I was feeling like, whoa, what's going on? But through that process, I learnt to pre-call harder. When they were ringing up talking to me about their free sessions, sure, you can have your free sessions, but ultimately that's not going to give you results. I'm going to ask you to commit to one of our programs. So getting tougher on the phone, and also making sure I get people to 10 out of 10. And it's interesting because the moment that I knew that I had to get them to 10 out of 10, or I was going to start asking them to leave in the autocloser, everyone's at 10 now. I'm like, yes. Because I'd say to them, if you're not at 10, I'm going to have to ask you to go. So, yeah. And so, sometimes I've felt like I'm in a holding pattern. But then there has been many rewards in my business as well in the last 5 months. So you can see here, this is my growth in profitability and revenue. So the red line is profit, and the green line is revenue. Because I've done so much activity, my revenue has gone up, but my profit is just starting to level out now. That's because I've been reinvesting a lot of my money back into the business, especially in terms of marketing there. The campaigns work. So here are all the campaigns that I've ran over the last 5 months. The grayscale is leads, consults, and then the sales. So I can clearly identify which ones are working for me. Icing on the cake is working, referrals, things like that. So the marketing really does work. My conversion rates have gone up as well. So before FFP, I was doing 30% close rate. I'm a salesperson, and I went through the auto closer system, and I'm like, oh, I forgot about that way of selling. So I implemented it, and now I'm sitting at 75 to 100%, and my average ticket sale is around $7,000 to $9,000. These are my business goals for next year, and I'll have to re-engineer those backwards to work out the dollars. So FFP has been life-changing for me. Without the supports and systems that I have now in place, I honestly wouldn't have a business right now. I would have had to close my doors in 2012. It has impacted me positively because I actually sleep at night. And the reason why I sleep at night is because I actually know where my next lead's coming from and I have a plan. I know that I still have many roads to travel, and I know that I will still continue to make mistakes, but I also know that I will learn lessons from those mistakes and continue to grow. I am proud of the fact that I can stand here in front of you guys and say I do have a business today, and I know that in 2013, that will be when I start to make some really good profit. My team is working well, I'm much happier, and I really believe in the product that FFP has and how it's helped me. Thank you.
You can keep up with NPE TV through Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube so that you can stay connected wherever your travels may take you.